Hey, it's me, Vicki Marie. Hope you're all okay today. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. So, the first thing I'm going to do is light the candle. And the candle I'm lighting for Mica. We've been following this story, haven't we? This case of poor Mica Miller, who now it transpires she was not. It was not red rum. She definitely did take her own life. And we know that now from information that's been released from the police. So I'm lighting the candle for Mica, and also I'm going to highlight in this video, because although it appears that Mica did, do it to herself, it feels like she was definitely driven to it, if you like, or it was made worse. I mean, you can't hold somebody else responsible for somebody's death in one way. Having said that, a case that we're going to look at tonight, a case that I've looked at before, I'm going to look at the video. It's just a short video that I made sometime last year, but it was a landmark case in the UK. Somebody who was, originally the inquest result was self-deletion, but then after investigation, somebody was held responsible for Kelly Sutton's death, even though she did take her own life, but her partner had exerted such horrible coercive control over her for so long that in the end it was decided that that was the reason she did it. And it was a landmark case in the UK, and her partner did go to prison for that. Like, not obviously, it's not red rum, it's not even manslaughter, but it is now an offence. It can be, people can be held accountable for driving someone, to suicide. I blame the police a lot as well with Kelly Sutton in particular, because they didn't deal with it very well. But anyway, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you that video. So first of all, I'll say hello to everyone, I think. Say hello to everyone. And I want to warn everyone, a trigger warning, if you like, or a warning. This video is going to deal with these difficult themes. Well, we'll see as we go along. I haven't quite decided yet whether I'm going to actually play the 911 call that Mica made or not. I cannot decide. But anyway, I'll decide that as we go along. But I'll just say hello to everyone first. Hi, David. But yeah, be warned. Sorry, everyone, be warned. If you're sensitive to this sort of content, talking about self-deletion, etc., probably better you don't watch at all, to be honest, because it is upsetting. But it's still important that Mica's story is told, because, this should not be happening to people, to women especially, but I'm sure there are men that it's happened to as well. Men that have been stalked, like Mica was stalked. Her life made a misery, every penny taken off her, so she didn't even have enough money to buy milk. This is what happened to Mica, and we're going to see that from the divorce papers and etc. She definitely was driven to desperation. A woman who already was a girl who was groomed from 14 years old. She was his babysitter. He groomed her from 14 years old. And then he sort of married her, made her like a slave, I think. And then when she had the cheek to want to split up from him, he set about making her life a misery. So, and unfortunately, it culminated in what she did. So he does have to be held responsible, I think. Hi, David. Hi, blank faces. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Chumba. Hi, Bridget. Bridget. Hi, Vivian. So yeah, so we're dealing. It turns out that this is likely to be well, it's 99% certain that it was self-deletion, and you'll see why as we go through this video. But definitely self-deletion driven there by the treatment that she received from a man of God. A man of God, a twonk of God, who's supposed to be a pastor, supposed to, you know, care about people. He treated her so badly that in the end, Mica didn't feel there was any other way she could escape her situation. It's awful. So first of all, though, I want to start with looking at this case of Kelly, because this, as I say, this was a case that highlighted last year. I didn't have so many subscribers then. So I'd like to tell Kelly's story as well again. Now, when I told Kelly's story, her father came on my comments and left a comment to say that this was his daughter, and the man, you know, the partner that we're going to look at this video now, her partner was already with somebody else. And, you know, gosh, so when I've just changed the thumbnail for this video, and I debated whether to just put Kelly's picture on it or to put his photo on as well. And I was umming and ahhing because I don't like to, you know, one way I don't want to draw attention to him, her partner. But in another way, I wanted to put his face there so that any woman looking at it or seeing it would know who this person is, you know, would see his face, you know, to hopefully try and avoid being with him. But according to Kelly's dad and the comment that he actually made on the video, I don't know if it's still there, the comment. Let's see. Here you go. Here's a comment from Ian. Kelly is my daughter, and that animal should have been put away for much longer than he was. He has a new girlfriend now, and it's my advice to her to get out now before it's too late. So let's have a look what happened to Kelly, because this case resonates with me, with Mica's case. Hi, it's me, Vicki Marie, and I just wanted to share with you this groundbreaking ruling on DA cases in the UK. I think this is going to be very important. Let me know what you think in comments.
Okay.
It's the morning of the 23rd of August 2017, and Hertfordshire police have just arrived at a suspected suicide. Stephen Gain has found his girlfriend, Kelly Sutton, unconscious at her home.
What's caused this?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. He doesn't know what's caused it. He don't know. He hasn't done anything. So this twonk, he's called the, you know, ambulance, I suppose, because he's found her unresponsive. And they've said, oh, what's caused this? I don't know. I don't know.
As police try to find out what's happened, he becomes increasingly agitated, desperate, it appears, to be by his girlfriend's side.
I want to go to hospital. You want to go to hospital?
But the portrayal of a distraught, worried partner belied the reality.
Yeah, he wanted to be next to her when she woke up because he wanted to tell her not to say anything about the abuse. That's why he's one of these little men again. Oh, you know, he's but a mushroom, no doubt.
The inquest jury were read a transcript of this conversation Gain had in a pub barely a month after Kelly had died, the friend recording it to help the police investigation.
She's dead. Who's dead? Who? She's brown bread. Who? Kel.
He's later heard saying,
She's made me lose my job, house. She made me lose my stuff, all because of her selfish actions.
So she's selfish. She's made him lose all these things because of her selfish actions. So I'll tell you what, I don't know if he's still in prison or if he's out now, but his new girlfriend, I hope to God she knows what he's really like, because these men, they have to be avoided at all costs.
She could have done it after I got my motor.
Gain had
She could have done it after I got my motor.
Subjected Kelly to months of violent abuse. He headbutted her, threw her across the room, She started having to wear makeup to cover the bruises. He was eventually convicted and jailed after she died for controlling and coercive behaviour in a landmark court case. But for Kelly's family, justice was still not done.
Yeah, so originally it was just classed at the inquest as a self-deletion, and afterwards he was prosecuted for coercive control, etc.
That, the family hope, changes today. In an unprecedented inquest conclusion, Kelly was found to have been unlawfully killed, even though she took her own life, linking the domestic abuse directly to her suicide.
So I hope this is what happens in Mica's case, because as we go on to watch about Mica's, the information that's coming out now, definitely this is so similar, this case.
It's what Kelly's mum, Pam, says she has always known.
Obviously, he wasn't charged with manslaughter or anything. So that kind of made me angry, because if she hadn't met him, she wouldn't have been in that mindset. She wouldn't have done what she did. So therefore, as far as I'm concerned, he's responsible. And I always got to think that way. Because until he came along, my daughter was happy.
Pam hopes police and the Crown Prosecution Service will now look at reopening the case against Gain so he can properly pay for what he's done.
She was very happy. She would have her radio on all the time, and she'd be dancing and singing all the time in the kitchen. I went from having a daughter to losing my daughter, losing my grandchildren. I went from being happy and having a life to basically existing and sitting on the sofa and staring at a TV, because I feel I've got no reason to leave the house anymore. There's no reason for me to get dressed, because what am I going to leave the house for?
Oh.
Outside the court today, the family lawyer read this statement.
We have fought now for many years for this inquest and for this unlawful killing conclusion. The family now call on the CPS to reconsider this case and to charge Stephen Gain with unlawful act manslaughter, so he can also be held accountable in the criminal courts.
I don't know if this is a dad there at the back who left the comment on my video.
The family also believe that the police failed to protect Kelly before she died, and that there was so much more that could have been done by professionals to help her.
The inquest jury agreed, reaching a damning conclusion about the inadequacies of Hertfordshire Police in Kelly's case. That there were
the way the police dealt with it wasn't good either. You know, the police have got so much to learn about how to deal with these cases. But unfortunately, you know, when they did go round to it, she didn't want to talk about it because she was probably terrified of him. And then the police thought there wasn't really much to it. You know, that's how it goes. So it's important that these women and men who are in these sort of situations, they need to be able to feel safe to be able to talk about it.
were numerous opportunities missed, which might have altered the final outcome. The critical one, captured in this body cam footage.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
On the 9th of July, just weeks before Kelly.
So the police went round to the house just a few weeks before she took herself away from this world. And you can tell she looks absolutely terrified. She does look terrified, I think. But the police didn't really pick up on it properly. Maybe they need a bit more training. But I mean, what can you do if someone refuses to talk?
He took her own life. Police were called to her house by worried neighbours. An incident described in court as instrumental to the tragedy which would follow. Kelly is visibly distressed. She's spoken to in the lounge, while Stephen Gain is led into the kitchen.
I don't want to go down that route, you know.
We got that path already. How much we got?
Yes, it's a crack path. It's a lot of paperwork for us. So
It's a lot of paperwork for us, the policeman said. And that little twonk in his little red shorts, like, what did, I'll never understand what, he's a cocky little shite who just thinks he's it. And he's, you know, he's like, oh my God. Just when I watched this video, I just could not believe it. Poor Kelly.
He says he wants to stay to talk to her, and then he'll go. We're not going to be called back here. Seems quite reasonable.
Oh, yeah, it seems quite reasonable. So he wants to stay. So the police was I suppose, was supposed to take him out of the house or whatever. But he seems quite reasonable to me. He says he just wants to stay and talk to her for a bit. Yeah, I bet he wants to stay and talk to her a bit. Then look at, you know, he could have murdered her. But he has murdered her in a different way because he's forced her to do what she's done to herself. But it seemed quite reasonable to the police.
The officers leave without checking on the welfare of Kelly's children or speaking to the neighbours around 30 minutes after arriving. Kelly told a police officer that day she was very frightened of Gain, who she said was a very angry person. She told the officer he was controlling and excessively jealous, aggressive, and had been arrested before. But in the critical domestic abuse risk assessment, Kelly's risk is judged to be standard.
Standard risk. When she said all those things, let's just go back and see that. So when they were doing the risk assessment, this is what she said. What have you got to say to be high risk? That's my question. What have you got to say to be high risk?
Or speaking to the neighbours around 30 minutes after arriving.
Are you very frightened? Yes. What are you afraid of? Is it further injury or violence? He's a very angry person. Are you depressed or having suicidal thoughts? Yes, depression. Does he try to control everything you do, and is he excessively jealous? Yes, he gets angry when I'm not at home or answering the phone.
Kelly told a police officer that day she was very frightened of Gain, who she said was a very angry person. She told the officer he was controlling and excessive.
Question 21. Has he had problems in the past year with drugs, alcohol, or mental health, leading to problems in leading a normal life? She answered, he's been in loads of fights.
Excessively jealous, aggressive, and had been arrested before. But in the critical domestic abuse risk assessment, Kelly's risk is judged to be standard.
Standard risk. For God's sake, what have you got to be high risk?
They had a very blasé attitude. They basically didn't show any much interest in what was going on, even though she was really upset and she was crying. And they didn't go and do a real job. As far as they was concerned, it wasn't a real job.
Today, the force, which failed her and her daughter so badly, apologised.
No, but it's no good. Oh, great, they apologised. So that guy who said, oh, he can't be bothered with the paperwork, he's probably still a policeman going out and doing things. You know, apologising does not bring a life back. You know, Kelly has lost her life. That lady has lost her daughter. Her father's lost her husband, his daughter. Her brother's lost his sister, etc. And the police, his apology's just not good enough.
Pam says an apology she's waited 6 years for.
Oh, 6 years. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. So just let me know your comments. I haven't even been able to comment on it because I'm just really, really angry. This is me last year. Anyway, remember to always live and love very wisely, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Until then, may your God always go with you. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you because I thought it was important. You know, so similar, isn't it, to this case? Hi, Heather. Hi, Chumba. I don't know if I said hello to Chumba or not. Hi, Maggie. So yeah, what is high risk? How you know, we can only hope. Unfortunately, these horrible tragedies, hopefully they do bring some sort of this incident now with Mica. The only good thing that will come out of it is it will heighten awareness, won't it? Will heighten awareness. Okay, so let's have a look at Mica now. So the information that the police have released lets us know that, unfortunately, Mica, 100%, she has done it to herself. Now, I did think, and I said when we were going through the videos on Mica's Facebook, I did think that one of those videos, she just did seem so very sad. I think the one where she said, you know, I'm still alive, you know, and she was keeping her circle small and etc., etc. She did just seem so very, very sad. But I was surprised that I was surprised that she did this because, you know, because of her religious beliefs. I thought her religious beliefs, you know, would stop her from doing it, but they didn't. I think, hi DMV, I think she was just so desperate. In the end, nothing, you know, she couldn't see a way out. And now so this is Mica buying the gun. You know, she actually went into a pawn shop and bought a gun. Do you know it took 5 minutes to buy that gun? 5 minutes. You know, and of course America will say, oh, don't be politicizing this, you know, it's nothing to do with gun control. No, and I'm sure she would have found another way to do it if she was completely determined to do it. But 5 minutes, just go and buy a gun, kill yourself, kill somebody else, do whatever. 5 minutes just doesn't seem right, does it, somehow? Anyway, I don't know if I'm sharing that. Yeah, I am. That was Mica buying her gun. But also what's coming out is information about what drove her to it. You know, for a start, she allegedly, because we don't know for sure that it was him, but she'd had her tyres slashed. And when she was having her tyres repaired, a tracking device was found on her car. You know, so that seems a bit suspicious, doesn't it? She had her tyres slashed more than once. And then on one of the times, so she believed somebody was watching or following her in the weeks leading up to her death. And she told police on March the 11th, her tyres had been slashed near Springmaid Pier in Myrtle Beach. And that later that day, when she went to repair the tyres, she called the police again after a tracking device was found on her car. You know, she was afraid for her life. So officials said that a male suspect was involved in both cases but did not release his identity. Oh, well, I wonder who that was. I wonder who that was. Was it a pastor, do you think? Allegedly. Anyway, she told the police at the time it was the second time a razor had deflated her tyre in the last week. And police confirmed there was a metal object protruding from her tyre and found it was a tyre deflation device that can be purchased online. And apparently Mica had an idea of who was following her or watching her and said he had a history of similar actions against her. So I think we know who that is, don't we? And also, after going to the Honda dealership to repair her tyre and finding the tracking device, she called the police for a second time to report harassment. And she said that the suspect, which would presumably is the pastor, had bothered her at a gas station earlier that day. And she told police that he kept trying to speak to her despite her asking him to go away. So once she brought out a phone to try and record him, but he got in his car and sped away. And speaking to an officer at the dealership, she said that he had used a no callback number to try and get in touch with her. And she said she was afraid for her life. I mean, it seems ironic that she was afraid for her life, but then she ended up taking her own life. I just think she just couldn't take it anymore. So she also advised she blocked his numbers, but she still gets calls and texts from him on other numbers, the report stated. So just share this. So there he is, the pink pastor in his lovely pink shirt, who groomed this girl from when she was his babysitter to his 5 children. She was 14 years old, she was the babysitter, and that's when he started grooming her. Hateful man. So apparently he's been let go from his position at Solid Rock Church. And of course, you know, the Solid Rock Church website has been removed. No, she was. Remember, we watched that. She was re-baptized, wasn't she? We watched that video off her Facebook page. So no charges have been filed against John Paul, and he hasn't been named as a person of interest. Well, he will get away with it because he hasn't actually killed her physically. But is he going to get up? I've heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true. You know what the streets of YouTube are like for rumors. But I have heard that the family are going, or either have or are going to file a lawsuit against him for unlawful death, like Kelly's boyfriend got charged with. You know, that is what I hope they do. That is what he should be charged with, unlawful death or something, you know, coercive control, etc. Because he was captured on video cracking jokes. Because, you know, when we watched that announcement that he made of her death, he'd already done his sermon before then. He was cracking jokes. You know, we've seen some of his pathetic sermons where he thinks he's funny. And that's what he was doing just like normal. And then at the end of the sermon, that's when he announced about Mica taking her own life and asked everyone to pray for him and his kids. Didn't ask for anyone to pray for her. So, yeah, he was captured on video cracking jokes just moments before he made the shock announcement and told the church not to discuss her death. So this, you know, Sheriff Bernice Wilkins said a death report will be released on Tuesday. Well, this is what was released yesterday. All this was released, and, you know, it definitely, they spoke to the family for quite a long time before they released all the information. But they were not going to be invested. It's not suspicious in the sense of, you know, it's been declared as a self-deletion, you know, the forensic report, everything. And now with the police call and that, you can see why it's being considered that. Okay, let me just put a couple of windows down and I'm going to show you something else. Okay, so let's just have a look at this article. Which explains about the divorce, the things she said in her divorce. Where is this from? Let's give him that. This is some local news place. It's got some adverts there for real estate and that. And then so it's Gab News. More information has been released about the turbulent marriage between Solid Rock at Market Commons Pastor John Paul Miller and he's now dead. Because you can hardly believe that she's no longer alive because she had so much vitality. She's such a lovely person. So Mica was found dead on April the 27th as the result of a gunshot wound to the head. And the police have said it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Her body was found at Lumber State Park in Lumberton, North Carolina, according to a police report. So we're going to look at that area. It's quite an eerie area. How she ended up there, I don't know. It seems like maybe she just literally got into a car, just drove off, and I don't know how, because she didn't know. You'll see when we listen to the 911 call, she didn't know where she was exactly. So the next day, John Paul Miller participated in 2 services at his church and preached at 2 services before announcing to the congregation his wife was dead. So he did all that before he announced that she was dead. He made the announcement at the end of the 2nd service. He told his congregants his wife's death was self-induced. Well, it says here they haven't released an official cause of death, but they have now. So Mica's death occurred within days of her filing for a divorce for the 2nd time in about 6 months. She originally filed for divorce on October the 9th, 2023, less than 3 weeks after the couple separated again. This happened on September the 20th, 2023. Gab News has obtained the documents from the original divorce request from October. Now, the thing is, what he could at least have the, if she wanted a divorce because he was being unfaithful and of the things he was doing, why didn't he just let her have a divorce instead of hounding her? He should have just let her go. He couldn't let her go. He sort of didn't want her himself, really, but he didn't want to let go of control of her. So he hounded her and made her life a misery instead of just letting her go. Anyway, the document states Mica and John Paul got married on November the 7th, 2017. According to her obituary, the two had been friends since 2009, when Mica was 14. And was a babysitter for the kids that John Paul had with his first wife. The divorce document states Mica believed her husband was engaging in acts of adultery with women whose names are well known to her in the public. Mica said she never condoned the affairs. Mica asked the court to grant a divorce or at least a legal separation. Mica, the documents state, said she separated from her husband because of his philandering and her growing hostility towards him. She said that John Paul threatened to throw her belongings into the yard. He'd locked her out of her own home. He had defamed and demeaned her before a congregation of people. Oof. The documents, now we could see how important Mica's faith was to her. It was very important to her, and she liked going to church and worshipping with the rest of the congregation. So he took everything away from her that was important to her. So they state that John Paul was the owner or majority shareholder of certain businesses and non-profit organisations. And Mica said she was entitled to an equitable share of the assets because she contributed to the improvements of certain premarital property to such an extent that it's been transmuted into marital property. She was also seeking alimony from John Paul. The documents also state Mica was seeking a restraining order and a ruling from the judge that said that John Paul could not speak negatively about her to the church congregation. Why would you have to take that out? Why would he? Why should he talk negatively about her to the church congregation? But I bet he was. And also at the time, she was asking permission to return to her maiden name, Francis. The same month, her husband filed for support and maintenance, but that request was also dismissed. On April the 16th, 2024, so not long before she died, 11 days before she died, she filed for support and maintenance, and a hearing notice was sent out on April the 23rd, with a court date set in June. Mica died on April the 27th. Well, she had no money. She had nothing, apparently. because of his actions. So maybe that was just too late for her, but don't know why she didn't ask her family for help. Maybe she just didn't feel she could. You know, I think there's a lot more to come out about sort of, because could you imagine when she filed for divorce again, I bet he started hounding her again. So the Solid Rock Church website has been taken down, and sources say that he has been fired as the pastor. Other things that have come out now is messages to other women. You know, he was constantly sexting other women, not only the girlfriend, you know, he's got a girlfriend, but not only her, other women as well. He was sending sexting, you know, sending suggestive text to and that. Oh, so he's a real charmer, this guy is a complete charmer, isn't he? Not, that is, I'm being sarcastic there, obviously. So, yeah, now where a family are going to take this now? So the family met up with the police yesterday. They were in there a long time. Apparently they didn't want to talk when they came out, but, you know, they will want to talk sooner or later. And they'll be deciding their next step, won't they? Okay, so we're going to have a look at the actual park now, where it happened, etc. Hi, Barbara. We're going to... Now, again, trigger warning, don't watch this if you're too sensitive, because this is, you know, it is hard to watch. So it's very recent that the whole thing happened. So, but the first thing I'm going to look at is the obituary. Sorry, that's not the right one. Let me see what I've done with the other one. I've got a video that I prepared earlier. When I prepare things earlier, it always seems to go wrong. I just forget what I've done with it, where I've put it. So I recorded, oh, there it is. Let me just download it. Yeah, I recorded this video earlier. It's got some bits and pieces on it. I recorded a few different things that were important to this case, one of which is the call. So just be aware that, you know, warning, that's all. I mean, there's nothing terrible in it in that sense, but it's very sad. It's very sad and eerie. But you'll be able to see why the police are saying that it is not, you know, it's not criminal inquiry in the sense of we think about it.
The park located at?
A national park.
Sorry, I just want to tell you where I got this from. This is a YouTube channel that I've shown you before, which is Jessica. So anyway, she had the call on there, but it has been
What's the
released.
address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
Let me see. You don't know where you're at?
A national park.
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
843-655-5242.
Where's the park located at?
In Bear Bluff.
Let's see.
I have my location on, I think, on my phone. Find my phone is on. I just did my my location.
Okay, I'm showing, hold on one second. don't think you are in Robeson County. Yeah, the Lumber River State Park.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay.
Now, I've got to say, I really feel for this responder because, well, when this first starts off, so Mica's just asking if she can be located from her phone. And so the responder doesn't realise what the situation is. She's probably thinking, oh, why are you ringing here asking, where you are? Practically, she's ringing up asking where she is. And then when it becomes apparent what Mica is there for, the first responder, you can tell she just doesn't know what to say. And what would you say?
Tell me what's happened.
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute.
So, what happened then? I mean, apparently Mica put the phone down. There may have been more to that phone call. We don't know, though. Maybe Mica sent some messages to her family, etc. I don't know. But that's where the police have decided to end that call as far as the public's knowledge is concerned. Now, I understand why they've released that, because everybody was so certain that he must have had something to do with it. And as you know, I do think he had something to do with it, but not in the sense that he did it physically. He wasn't there. The police would probably want to clear up all the rumours that go around the social media, etc. People saying things about his alibi or saying that his girlfriend did it and this, that, and the other. And the police wanted to make it clear why they think, apart from the actual autopsy report, they wanted to make, they wanted to make it clear that he was not there. And yeah, David, I thought that. Why didn't she get? But we don't know if she did try and get her talking, because from what I can gather, Mica put the phone down in the end. Mica cut off the call. So, I don't think I expect the woman did try and start to. We don't know. We haven't got the rest of the call, have we? So that's as far as we've got. But I think basically that is just to show to people. I don't think he was there with a Maggie, because he's got an alibi. He was somewhere else with his kids at some football game or something. I don't think he did it to her in that sense, but I do think he made her do it by just making her life so miserable. Personally, he just made her, and I think he'll suffer for that. I think he's going to struggle with his congregation. The police have released quite a bit of information about, the state of, what he was putting her through, etc. Now, let's see what's right. I want to show you this now. It's just a short clip from News Nation.
I want to bring in our friend Mark Garagos. He's a trial attorney and the co-host of the Reasonable Doubt podcast with Adam Carolla. Okay, Garagos, people love to take pot shots at lawyers, but this is why defense lawyers do the job that they do.
This is before you even start.
Yeah, I mean, this is the picture that did it for me. She is in the pawn shop buying this gun all by herself.
Yeah, she's in there buying the gun. She's smiling. She is, very religious person. She's probably looking forward to going to heaven. So she just. Trouble is, you can never underestimate what's going through people's minds.
People jumped online saying she was forced to, probably the woman that her husband was having the affair with killed her and then made it look like a suicide and probably called 911 pretending to be her. You can't refute the fact that she was in there by herself, you know, moments before she used that gun that she's buying. Here's the other question I have for you. Are there any civil actions anywhere here? I look at the 20 minutes that it took her from the moment she walked in the door to get that gun. 20 minutes, that's all it took to get the gun, and then she used it to kill herself. And the way the husband had behaved, there are all sorts of allegations that he was emotionally abusive to her. I think there's like suggestions that, you know, she was 14 when they met and maybe not that young, not that old when they, you know, turned into a relationship. Is there any civil action, wrongful death that can flow out of the pattern of facts you've seen?
Well, you can always conjure up a cause of action. It's whether or not it's something that will stick, number one. And number two, you know, most plaintiffs' lawyers work on a contingency. If there is a client who can come up with a cause of action, is there somebody who can pay? I hate to kind of rip off the Band-Aid of what civil justice is, but that is kind of the calculation.
Yeah, it is. Mark, thank you. Appreciate it. You were the first person I thought of when it comes to a case like this. It's not often that it's this kind of resolution this quickly, but I appreciate your input. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation.
That was the picture, but I've already showed you that, so I want to... Got some footage of the actual... Right. So this is some drone footage of where it happened. I also watched a bit of JLR's video. It's a very desolate place, you know, and that the area, we looked at the crime in the area, didn't we? There's a lot of crime in the area. That is a place you'd be. So apparently she went there. She's gone a mile into the woods to do it. So I'm not sure why she went there. What, you know, she didn't seem to really know the area. Maybe she'd just been driving around aimlessly and she just saw, you know, this park and just thought, oh, go there. You know, who knows why she went there. But this is so eerie. I found this very eerie because it is such a desolate place. You know, it's not like when we've watched, when I've looked at other, like even the Samantha Murphy case, the trail that she was on, the Rachel Marin case, the trail she was on, they were lots of people, you know, maybe not with Samantha because it was so early in the morning, but normally there would be a lot of people about. This is desolate, absolutely desolate. It just seems so eerie, doesn't it? I don't know if those birds are from my house or from there. I think they're from outside my house because my birds are quite noisy in the morning. And I was videoing this morning. But doesn't it just, there's nobody about. I don't know what time this video was taken. But you just can't really see anybody on the trails or whatever. But if it's a dangerous area, then people won't want to go in there because there's a lot of trees where people can hide. I just found this really eerie.
I want her to wake up in prison every single day, and I want her to know that she killed my
Okay,
kid.
so we're
She
going to go on a
killed
little bit.
my
Aren't we?
son's best friends, girls that called me mom, my extra kids. She killed.
So there's bit of a
I want her to know
timeline
that she
here.
killed
I
my
just want to
kid.
get this woman is nothing to do with it. So on April the 27th, this is what she did. So on 10:13 in the morning, she's seen on her Ring camera leaving her residence on Margarita Drive in Myrtle Beach. And then at 11 o'clock, she's seen on her Ring camera coming back to her residence. So I don't know if that's when she went to get the gun. Then at 11:38 a.m., she's seen on her Ring camera leaving her residence again. And, she's dressed all in black. She must have just made this decision that she was going to do it. It's so, so sad. So there she is, leaving for the last time, leaving her residence for the last time. Bless her. So then she's seen on surveillance walking into the pawn shop and buying, this is the car park outside the pawn shop where she bought the gun. And there she is, that's her car. And she's seen walking into the pawn shop in Myrtle Beach where she bought the gun. And there it is. That's the photo we saw. And there she's smiling, buying the gun. She's made her mind up. Very sad. And then she's seen on the surveillance leaving as well. And then her black Honda Accord at 1:06 p.m. is seen travelling on Highway 501 near 4 Mile Road in Conway. So I wonder if she was just driving around then aimlessly, or did she didn't seem to have any connection to that place, that lumber town. So why did she end up there? Then she arrived at 1:27. She arrived at this grocery shop and bought a water and some gas. Well, I don't know if it was water. She bought a drink and some gas. I don't know what drink she bought. So that was at 1:35, and then it was 2:54 when the 911 call was made on an 843 area code number. I don't know what area code that is. But Mica asked if her phone could be located and then threatened suicide. Well, I don't think she threatened it. She said she was going to do it. Anyway, she hung up the phone before further information could be gathered by dispatch. And the telecommunicator tried to call Mica back multiple times and was unable to make contact. So that's very sad. Now, I'll tell you what, that'll have been difficult for that telecommunicator. I don't know if they get help or whatever, because if that would have been you who was on the phone to Mica, that's quite traumatic, isn't it? And then when you couldn't get back, you couldn't get her back on the phone, it must have been horrible for the telecommunicator as well, I think. And then it's the 911 call, which we've listened to, but I think we're going to listen to it again, but this time this is not on the YouTube channel, it's just the police. Oh, that was right. And so on this particular website, their video of it had been removed for violating YouTube's terms of service. So, they might get the ump about mine. I don't know, me playing it, but I do think it's important. I mean, obviously it's got nothing gory on it or anything, but it's important that people, I think it's important that people know, what her last sort of thoughts were in that. Also, I think it's important that people, because he needs to be held to account, but we have to hold him to account for the right thing. He wasn't there, he didn't pull the trigger, but he has to be held to account for the build up to it. So instead of focusing, to me, it's important, instead of focusing, did he do it and that, we know he didn't do it. Physically, he didn't do it. So that gives the police or the civil prosecution that the family hopefully will take out, gives them a chance to concentrate on that, on what led up to it, because that is where the key lies to this. So what have we got here then? So at 3:03 p.m, Robson County deputies were dispatched to the Lumber River State Park for a well-being check and to attempt to locate Mica. And then at 3:05, contact was made with the Lumber River State Park superintendent. At 3:20, the deputies request a phone ping. 3:31, the deputies arrive at Lumber River State Park and begin the search with the State Park Rangers. 3:33, Robertson County Sheriff's Office. Aviation Division Air 3 drone was dispatched to the park. Where did I get to? 3:42, telecommunicator contacted Verizon to request an updated location ping. And at 3:50, detectives with the drone arrive at Lumber River State Park. And while conducting an aerial search, detectives were approached by a person who said, so there was somebody there who had found a bag while fishing. So detectives were approached by a person who said he had found a bag while he was fishing with Mica's ID inside. Detectives took possession of the bag. The Robertson County Sheriff's Office findings said this person heard crying and then a gunshot. The person stated he went further into the slough where he found the bag, about 2 feet from the water's edge. So it sounds like she went into the river. because he says he found the bag about 2 feet from the water's edge. Anyway, then at 4:23 p.m., an individual contacted Robertson County 911 and said he had located a body in the water. He had been fishing on his kayak when he found the body, and searching deputies secured the area for an investigation. So she was in the water. That's funny, I don't. Just how did she get in the water? You know, did she deliberately? Maybe I can't see. Would she deliberately have done it to go in the water? Anyway, she was in the water, and searching deputies secured the area for an investigation. So this, I don't know if you can see that very well because I recorded this earlier. I should have done, but this is basically. She buys the gun there. Oh, she lives this. So this is where she lives. She leaves home here at 11 something. She buys the gun at 12 something, and then she goes off around and about. She's, you know, and she buys gas here. So somewhere she's gone from where she lives to buy the gun in this place here, still in Myrtle Beach, and then she's bought gas here and ended up at this Lumberton State Park up there, an hour and a half's drive from where she lives.
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
Sorry, that just
843.
right at the beginning. Didn't mean to do that. Where was I? A little bit. Oh no, wasn't that far? Here. So at 5:30 p.m., the chief of detectives arrives at the incident location. 5:54 p.m., detectives and RCSO, which I'm not sure what that is, I hate initials, arrive at the incident location. The medical examiner is contacted and requested. The CSI technician photographs the area of investigation to include the vehicle belonging to Mica. Items of evidence are collected from her car and the incident location. And investigators located a Sig Sauer gun case in the passenger seat of the vehicle and a box of ammunition in the center console of the vehicle. Investigators also found a receipt for the handgun from a pawn shop and a receipt from a convenience store in the vehicle. Both receipts were dated for the same day of Mica's death. The serial number on the weapon found in the water at the crime scene matches the gun box that was found in Mica's Honda Accord. It makes you wonder, did she stand in the water to do it? Oh, because she may have, that could have a religious significance, couldn't it? You know, being in the water, I don't know. Sounds like she actually was in the water when she did it. So at 7:11 p.m, the firearm is located in the river. So now we're looking at John Paul Miller's whereabouts. So his whereabouts on the 26th and the 27th. So the investigation also revealed that, stop calling her Miller, Mica and her estranged husband, John Paul Miller, had been separated and were involved in the legal system. Deputies said this information led investigators to confirm his whereabouts and a woman John Paul is allegedly romantically involved with. Investigators confirmed that both were not in North Carolina on the night before or the day of her death. Investigators determined that John Paul travelled to Charleston for a sporting event on April the 26th, the day before Mica died. This was proven through eyewitnesses and license plate readers. Detectives confirmed he stayed overnight in the Charleston area. So, John Paul Miller returned to Myrtle Beach on April the 27th. While travelling to and from Charleston, he was with other people. Mica's family met with deputies to discuss their investigation findings. However, John Paul Miller, oh so twonky face, he asked the Robeson County Sheriff's Office to go to him in South Carolina. Anyway, they said they're not planning on travelling to South Carolina. So what bloody cheek. So even the family of the victim, they've travelled to the sheriff's office. But oh no, not John Paul Miller. No, he's not travelling anywhere to talk to the police. If they want to talk to him, they've got to go to him. Anyway, they said they're not going, so I hope he'll have to go. But just might be the end of it. Might be nearly the end now. So, new reports released on Monday detail harassment incidents leading up to her death and that she was afraid for her life. And then friends and family held a rally Sunday out in front of Solid Rock Church calling for justice for Mica. So Mica's family also held a memorial service on Sunday afternoon. The same time, a memorial service hosted by Mica's estranged husband, Pastor John Paul Miller, was held at the Solid Rock Church. I think they might be changing their name, that church, because the Solid Rock Church will always be associated, won't it, with this case? So an announcement made by the church Monday said that Pastor John Paul Miller was released from his ministerial functions for a time of healing, counsel and guidance, pursuing to our governing instrument. The church's website was also suspended over the weekend. Okay, then it gives you the suicide helplines, etc. So I hope you're all okay after that. Let me just fast. I think I thought I had a little bit more on here. Yeah, this is.
Hi. Are you able to trace the location of my phone?
Robeson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi. Are you able to trace the location of my phone?
Let me see. You don't know where you're at?
A national park.
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
843-655-5242.
Where's the park located at?
in Bear Bluff.
Let's see.
I have my location on, I think, on my phone. Find my phone is on. I just did my my location.
Okay, I'm showing. Hold on 1 second. I don't think you are in Robeson County. Are you at the Lumber River State Park?
Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay. Tell me what's happened.
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute.
Okay, so basically, yeah, that's the story so far of Mica. Let's just hope. I hope her family do, or the police. Maybe the police will find enough. Will think it's worth pursuing. You know what the police are like. It's, will they just think, oh, that's the end of that case? It's clearly self-deletion, and it all comes down to resources, doesn't it? Investigations and things. Or will the family? So the family, I heard the rumor, and I haven't found anything to validate it yet, but I will keep an eye on it, obviously, and let you know that the family were going to take out a private suit against him, and I certainly would, because it seems obvious to me. Mica probably did have some mental health issues, but why? I'll tell you why she had some mental health issues, because she was groomed from 14 years old. She was made into some sort of Stepford wife, pastor's wife, doing it, this, that, and the other. And she was supposed, he wouldn't have expected her to just keep quiet when he had another woman or anything like that. He would, he would, and it was all her fault, wasn't it? It was all her fault, according to him. This is what they do. So awful. Hi, Faye. Okay, so that's, unfortunately, Faye, I've nearly finished the video, but so that's what I've got to tell you about today about Mica. There's just lots of things that I feel like I want to talk to you about at the moment. Not only this case and there's Sebastian Rogers. I think I'll be doing a live tonight about Sebastian and the madness that is that case, and where is that boy? Where is that boy? Where is Sebastian? Just getting lost in all the other crap that's going on about that case. And the other thing I will be doing is, the Anna Knezevich case. I have found the police criminal report, so I know exactly what the police are accusing him of. And that's quite, that's a whole nother thing, isn't it? But at least he's been caught. He's behind bars. That's all. We just got to think, thank God he's behind bars. What day are we on today? It is it's Wednesday today. So on the 10th, he's got another court appearance. So I'm hoping that they will be I'm hoping then after that court appearance on Friday, the murder charge might come out, and I just hope he does end up telling where Anna is. Give her family some comfort, some cold comfort. Okay, so enjoy the rest of your day or your evening. Faye's going to bed because it's a different time zone. But yeah, enjoy your evening, enjoy your afternoon, enjoy your morning, whatever it is where you are. I've got a few classes this afternoon, but I'll be back on the video. I'll be back on live later tonight at some point. So yeah, take care. Love to all of you, and remember to live and love carefully, wisely. Again, just keep away from pastors. That's all I would say. Yeah, and Davido, he's going nowhere. Yeah. Yes, so at least that's some good news that he's at least been charged. Anyway, sorry, I'll end up blethering on, and I don't want to do that because I'll do some more blethering on later. So until I see you again, may your God always go with you. Bye-bye.